If you were really a woman, he said, this wouldn't be a problem. Hilda didn't move. She was standing in the kitchen doorway, pregnancy test in her hand, single pink line facing up. She had been awake since 4. She had taken the test alone like she took all of them. She had sat on the bathroom floor until the light came under the door, then got up, washed her face and walked out. She had not expected him to be awake. She had not expected those words. Jun-ho. Her voice was level. That levelness cost her everything. He stood against the counter, arms folded, watching her. We've been trying 8 months. Something is wrong. And it's not me. Hilda Marie Johnson was 31. From Charlotte, North Carolina. She had come to Seoul on a 3-month contract and stayed because something in the city opened her up. She was sharp, loud when she needed to be, the kind of woman who did not let things go unnamed. 2 years with Park Jun-ho had quietly taught her to stay quiet. She set the test on the counter. I have an appointment with a specialist next week. We can both go. I don't need to go anywhere, he said. I'm fine. She picked up her coffee. She walked to the window. Below, Seoul moved without stopping for anyone's private devastation. She turned back. I'll go alone then. He shrugged. That's fine. It was not fine. What Hilda had not said, not to him, not to anyone, was that she already suspected why 8 months of trying had produced nothing. 6 years ago at 25 she had made a decision in a clinic in Charlotte. There was a complication after. Minor, the doctor said. Possibly nothing, possibly something. She had filed it away and never looked back. But standing here now with his words still in the room, she understood the filing was done. She was going to find out the truth. Not for him. Not for a deadline. For herself. Hey family. Welcome to Afro-Korean Stories. Before we dive into this evocative narrative, drop a comment below and tell me where you're watching from and tell me what time this video got to you. Your supports keep this stories alive, and don't forget to like, share and hit the subscribe button because what happens next absolutely will blow your mind. They met at a rooftop event in Itaewon. String lights, Seoul skyline, too much wine. Jun-ho had looked at her across the party like she was someone worth understanding. He found her 30 minutes later and introduced himself without apology. I've been trying to work out your accent, he said. Charlotte, she said. I've never been. You should go. The food alone. He smiled. She smiled. That was the last easy thing between them. He was 36. Senior director at a luxury goods company. He paid attention the way certain men do, completely, and then later you realize the attention was an audition. She had passed. She just hadn't read the full script. The conditions arrived slowly. First her hair. Never said directly. Just comments 2-3 times about how she looked more refined at his work events with it straightened. Her locks, 4 years grown, started to feel like a statement she had to defend. He kept them. But she started putting them up when they went out with his colleagues. Then her volume. You're a lot, he said once tenderly. That word carried a blade under all that warmth. She turned herself down. Then came his family. His mother, Park Myung-suk, received Hilda like someone inspecting property. The dinner in Bundang. Every question routed through Jun-ho. Third course, his mother asked about her vitality. Her health history translated carefully. Hilda answered and smiled and went home and told Jun-ho it had been lovely. She did not tell him about the tightening in her chest all night. He proposed 8 months after they met. His apartment. A Tuesday evening. He slit the ring on and said his mother was pleased with the direction. Not I love you. His mother was pleased with the direction. She had smiled at that too. That was the beginning. The rest was the cost. The ultimatum came on a Sunday morning. Jun-ho set his coffee down and said, My mother wants to move forward with the formal family introduction. End of year. She has one requirement. Hilda looked up. A confirmed pregnancy. Before the ceremony. She closed her laptop. Say that again. She wants to know the relationship is serious before. She wants proof of my pregnancy before she'll accept me into the family. I know how it sounds. Tell me how it sounds. Your words. He was quiet. Strategic silence, his way of making you feel like the problem was how you heard something, not what was said. She lost a pregnancy once, he said. It affects how she thinks. Her loss has become a condition on my body. She's traditional. Jun-ho. She said his name the way she did when she needed him to be a person, not a spokesperson. What happens if I'm not pregnant by December? He looked at the window. Long pause. Then we have a serious conversation about whether this is the right time. The right time. A blade wrapped in reason. And the gender? She asked. Something moved in his face. He almost caught it. Her preference is a son. For the first. It's traditional. A son. Not our child. A son. Like she was a machine with a specific output. You're telling me, she said slowly, that your mother needs a confirmed male pregnancy before the introduction. Or we're in question. She didn't say it exactly. Is that the substance of it? He said nothing. Which was always his way of confirming what he wouldn't say. I'll talk to her, he said. I'll manage it. Not, this is wrong. Not, I won't allow this. I'll manage it. Like Hilda was an inconvenience to smooth over, not a person to stand beside. She stood up. Got her jacket. Where are you going? He said. Seo Yun's. She left. In the elevator she breathed through her nose and counted floors. Outside the cold air hit her and she let it. He had a call to make. Not to Seo Yun yet. To a doctor. It was the first decision she'd made in 8 months that felt entirely like hers. Seo Yun Kim opened the door, looked at Hilda's face and stepped aside. Kitchen, she said. She made tea. She sat across from Hilda and did not speak. That was her gift. She knew when silence was the thing. 3 minutes passed. He told me his mother wants a confirmed pregnancy before the family introduction, Hilda said. By December. And she wants a son. Seo Yun's hands stayed around her mug. By December. 10 weeks. And Junho said he'd manage it. Hilda's voice was flat. Not that it was wrong. That he'd manage it. Seo Yun looked at her. Hilda. What have you not told me? How do you know there's something? Because I've watched you disappear for 8 months. Every time I ask, you fold the real thing back up and put it away. The kitchen was quiet. 6 years ago, Hilda said, before Seoul, before all of this, I had an abortion. She looked at her hands. There were complications after. Scar tissue. The doctor said possibly nothing, possibly something. I never followed up. She paused. I've been trying for 8 months. Every month, nothing. And I think the two things might be connected. Seo Yun was still. Have you told Junho? She asked. No. Why not? Because I know what he'll do with it. Hilda's jaw tightened. He'll be patient exactly as long as his mother allows. Then he'll use it as a reason. The polite kind. Seo Yun was quiet for a while. Then, you have to see a doctor. I made an appointment this morning. Something shifted in Seo Yun's face. Relief or the beginning of it. And then, Hilda said, I have to tell him. Yes. And what he does with the truth will answer every question you haven't wanted to ask about this relationship. Hilda looked at her tea. You've been performing fine so long, Seo Yun said. What does actually fine feel like? I don't remember, Hilda said. The doctor's name was Park Ji-young. She had the manner of someone who had delivered hard news enough times to do it carefully, with both hands. Seo Yun came. Hilda had asked her to. Dr. Park examined her, explained as she went, treated her body like it belonged to her. That alone nearly broke Hilda's composure in ways she hadn't expected. The results were clear. Intrauterine adhesions, Dr. Park said. Likely from the procedure you described. They're affecting the uterine lining here, she pointed to the imaging, in a way that significantly reduces implantation. Significantly, Hilda said. Without treatment, yes. The good news is this is treatable. Hysteroscopic surgery to remove the adhesions. 3 to 4 months recovery. Then we reassess and begin a supported protocol. Timeline to a viable pregnancy after surgery? 6 to 9 months minimum. Best case. Hilda did the math against December. Against the sun. Against the condition. It wasn't math. It was a verdict. If someone needed a confirmed pregnancy in 10 weeks, she said. Any version of what you've told me, is that possible? Dr. Park's answer was gentle and completely clear. No. Not responsibly. Hilda scheduled the surgery. She walked out into the October afternoon and stood on the pavement. She confirmed it? Seo Yun said. Confirmed. And she said treatable. That's the part that matters. Yes. Hilda took a breath. I have to tell him tonight. How are you feeling? Hilda thought about it honestly. Like the uncertainty was worse than the truth. Like I swallowed something solid for the first time in months. Seo-yun nodded. Call me after, she said. I will. Hilda walked to the subway. He had 5 hours. She decided to give him all of it. The full truth, no edited version. For the first time. She told him at 8:30. Same kitchen table. She didn't think about whether that was significant. I need to tell you something. Let me finish. He set his phone down. She told him about Charlotte. Not the edited version. She told him about being 25 and scared and alone and making a decision that was entirely hers. About the complication after. The scar tissue. The 6 years of filing it. The 8 months of trying in silence. The prenatal vitamins he never saw, the 4 a.m. tests on bathroom floors. She told him what Dr. Park found. The adhesions. The surgery. 6 to 9 months best case. I should have told you before the engagement, she said. Fear stopped me. I'm telling you now. Then she stopped and watched his face. His first sentence was, you should have told me before we got engaged. She had expected it. Yes. Fear stopped me. That's not good enough. His voice was patient, flat. My family has expectations. You knew that. I knew, she said. I sat at your mother's table while she asked about my health history in the 3rd course. I understood the assessment. Then you understand. Why your first sentence was an accusation. She placed it on the table without heat. I just told you the most frightening thing I have ever told another person. And you opened with, you should have told me. He was quiet. I can get the surgery, she said. In 6 to 9 months we could. Next year. He said it like a number with no use. That's the timeline. My mother. Is who you're thinking about. Her voice stayed steady. I am sitting here scared, telling you I've been carrying this alone for 6 years. And the conversation is about your mother's timeline. That's not all. Tell me what else. Pause. He looked at the table. Do you believe she's wrong? Hilda asked. Your mother. Do you believe it's wrong to require a pregnancy before accepting a person into the family? Silence. That's the answer, she said. She got up. He went to the bedroom. She sat in the dark and listened to him sit at the kitchen table for a long time. She did not cry. She had done something harder than crying. She had told the full truth and watched what he did with it. Now she knew. Knowing was not the same as deciding. But it was the room before the decision. She sat in it and breathed and waited for morning. He did not leave. He also did not arrive. He existed in the apartment in suspension. Present, functional, sometimes the version of himself she'd fallen for, sometimes so remote she felt like she was managing a weather system. He asked once how the surgery prep was going. She told him. He nodded. He didn't offer to come. She didn't ask. 3 weeks later he sat across from her. My mother wants to postpone the formal introduction. Indefinitely. Until I'm pregnant, Hilda said. He said nothing. His silence was always its own confirmation. Did she ask you to end the engagement? He looked at the window. She said she was concerned about whether this was the right match. There was. Her medical condition repackaged as incompatibility. Her body's reality presented as evidence she was the wrong choice. And you, she said. Do you think it's the right match? He looked at her. She watched him compose an answer. The kind that sounded unconditional but was full of qualifications. She knew that face. I think we're in a difficult season, he said. Not, I'm in your corner. Not, my mother is wrong. A difficult season. When your mother said right match, Hilda said, did you tell her that was wrong? Not complex. Wrong. I defended you. How? I said the situation was medical and we were handling it. You described me as a situation being handled. Not to wound him. To name it accurately. You did not say her condition was unacceptable. You did not say my worth is not my fertility. You managed it. He opened his mouth. You have managed everything, she said. My hair. My volume. My friends. The truth when I gave it to you. Your mother. And not once, did you just choose the person in front of you over everyone else's comfort. He went to the bedroom. She came out with a bag she'd already packed without fully knowing she'd packed it. I'm going to Seo-yun's, she said. You're leaving. I'm going to Seoyun's. He stood. For a second he looked like the man from the rooftop. She felt grief for that version of him, brief, real, then gone. Hilda. I love you. I believe you, she said. It wasn't enough. She left. Outside, the city didn't stop. She stood on the pavement for 1 minute. Then she walked. Her sister Camille flew in from Charlotte 3 days before the procedure. Hilda had finally made the full call, the real one, nothing filed away, and Camille had been silent for 5 seconds on the line before saying, Hilda Marie, I'm booking the flight. That was the whole conversation. Camille arrived with too much luggage and snacks from their mother and a specific warmth that Hilda had spent 31 years taking for granted. They didn't talk about Junho much. They didn't need to. Camille had formed her opinion long ago. She just hadn't said it until Hilda was ready to hear it. One night in Seoyun's kitchen, did you ever feel, not think feel, that he was fully on your side? Hilda sat with it. The first few months. Yes. And after? I started to feel like I was auditioning to stay there. Camille nodded. No follow-up. The verdict was clean. The morning of the surgery, Hilda woke at 5:30. She took inventory in the dark. Not of the relationship, that inventory was at 0. A different one. Her work. Getting better through all of this. Her 2 best clients came in the same month she moved out of Junho's apartment. Her people. Camille in the next room. Seoyun already making tea. Her mother on FaceTime every evening. Her father, who would handle it with more emotion than anyone expected. Her body. Even with the adhesions. This body had carried her across an ocean and kept her upright through 2 years of compression and 8 months of private grief. Treatable. Not finished. She got up. Brushed her teeth. Looked in the mirror. Without the ring. Without the apartment in Itaewon. Without the management of Park Myung-suk's requirements. She looked like herself. After 2 years of editing herself in real time, looking like herself felt significant. Camille knocked softly. Ready? Yes, Hilda said. Cling. No asterisk. Just yes. They went to the clinic. The 3 of them, Hilda and Camille and Seoyun. The city was barely awake. The light was low and gold. Hilda looked out the window and thought one thing. I am healing my body for myself. Not for December. Not for a son. For myself and the life I intend to have on my own terms. That thought felt like a door opening. She walked through it. Recovery was slow, then fast, then slow again. Camille stayed 3 weeks. Those 3 weeks were the best in Seoul, which was strange because they included pain and boredom and whole days on Seoyun's couch. But Camille was there. Their mother on FaceTime every night. Their father who cried more than anyone expected. Hilda laughed for the first time in weeks. Junho messaged 2 weeks into recovery. Short, careful. He hoped the procedure had gone well. He'd been thinking. He knew he hadn't been present the way she needed. He said he loved her. She read it 3 times. Felt the old pull. The muscle memory of choosing someone, the hope that his thinking had produced a better version of him. She sat with it 1 full day. Then she wrote back. She told him she believed he loved her. That she had loved him. That neither was enough to make what they'd had functional. She wrote, You loved me with conditions that arrived slowly so I wouldn't see them coming. By the time I saw them, I had already made myself smaller to fit them. I don't blame you for who you were raised to be. I hold you accountable for the choices you made when you knew better. She wrote, Your mother's conditions on my body were wrong. You knew that. You managed them instead of naming them. That is not love. That is administration. She pressed send. Put the phone down. She picked up the sketchbook she'd started during recovery. Just drawing for herself, nothing commercial. A figure in a doorway. 1 hand on the frame, 1 hand free. The room behind her shadowed and detailed. The space ahead full of light with no specific source. She worked on it for days. 6 weeks after surgery, Dr. Park used the word encouraging. The adhesions were gone. The lining was recovering. The protocol could begin in 3 months. Hilda received encouraging with both hands. She was 32 now. She sat in the consultation room and thought about what she wanted. Not what anyone else needed from her body. What she wanted. Her work, which was the best of her career. Seoul, which had become hers. Not Junho's version. The real city. A child, someday on her timeline with someone who chose her at full volume. To be 32 without apologizing for the pace of her own becoming. She left the clinic. The trees along the boulevard were blazing yellow. She stopped. Took a picture not for anyone. Just for herself. Then she walked. She showed the drawing to Seo-yun first. A Thursday evening. Wine in the sketchbook. She turned to the figure in the doorway and said, "I finished it." Seo-yun looked at it a long time without speaking. The figure stood with one hand on the frame, one hand free. Face turned slightly upward, not looking back at what she was leaving, not fully forward at what was ahead, but up, like someone listening for something they weren't sure they'd heard. Behind her, shadow. Ahead of her, light with no source. "This is you," Seo-yun said. "I think so. You should show this. It's just a sketch." "Hilda." "Show it." She posted it on her design portfolio with a short caption. "I drew this while healing from something. I think it's about the moment before the next thing begins." 48 hours later, 11,000 shares. The comments weren't polished. They were raw, women writing paragraphs about surgeries and silences, about men who managed instead of stood, about fertility timelines and the pressure of being told your body was the most important thing about you. About 4 a.m. tests and single lines and bathroom floors. She read every one. She replied to the ones that said, "I thought it was just me. I thought I was the only one carrying this alone." She wrote back every time, "It was never just you. That was always the lie." She started a series. Figures in doorways, in thresholds, in the moment between. Different women, different rooms, different light. One posted every 2 weeks. Each one found its people. By March, 2 Korean design publications had profiled her. A gallery in Itaewon, same neighborhood as that rooftop that first night, asked about a show. He said yes. The opening was a Friday evening in April. The city was doing its spring thing. Cherry blossoms past peak, the air finally warm. People came in numbers that would have surprised her former self. The self that had been making herself smaller. Seo-yun was there. Camille flew back in. Their mother came too on 36 hours' notice, organized with the quiet efficiency of a woman who had been waiting for a reason. Her mother stood in front of the central piece, the original figure in the doorway enlarged and mounted, and looked at it for a long time. Then she turned to Hilda. "You drew your way out," she said. Hilda thought about that. It was accurate. She had drawn when she couldn't speak. She had put the unsayable into line and form and light, and it had found the people who needed it. "Your way out is your way in," her mother said. "The thing that gets you out of the wrong place gets you into the right one. You've been in the right place a while now. You just weren't sure you were allowed to stay." Hilda stood in the middle of her gallery opening and received that. No filing. No managing. Just received it. Near the end of the evening, a young woman, maybe 26, found her near the door. She had been standing in front of one of the smaller pieces. "When did you know it was over?" she asked. "With whoever it was." Hilda thought about it honestly. "When I realized I'd been performing fine so long I forgot what actually fine felt like." The woman nodded. Something in her settled. Hilda had watched that settling happen across the room all night. Shoulders dropping a quarter inch. Something held, getting held by something outside of itself for a moment. The work was not the drawings. The work was permission. She had drawn her own permission in a recovery room, and it had become, without planning, a permission others could step into. She stood in the doorway of her own gallery on a spring night and thought about every woman on a bathroom floor at 4 a.m. Every woman smiling at a wrong ring. Every woman who had filed the most important things away because filing was the only way she knew to survive. She said it to herself first, which was where the real things always started. You are not a condition to be managed. You are not a timeline. You are not a referendum. The son by December, the pregnancy before acceptance, the body on their schedule. That was never the whole of you. That was their limitation dressed up as your requirement. Your body is not a verdict. Your history is not a disqualification. Your worth is not your fertility. 30 is not a deadline. It is a beginning. Don't stay where love comes with fine print. Don't stay where you are made small. The most powerful thing you will ever do is stay, not in places that cost you everything but in yourself. Completely. At full volume. She looked at the room. Seo-yun laughing near the window. Camille making their mother smile. The drawings on the walls. The spring air coming through the open door. She had drawn her way out. Now she was drawing her way in. And if this story found you tonight, if you are in the middle of something making you smaller, If someone has put a deadline on your body or your worth, subscribe. Not for content. For the reminder that you are not alone in your waiting rooms. That the story is not over. That the bravest thing is choosing yourself. Completely. Without apology. The line will not define you. You already are.